In the dunes of Suna, a team of archaeologists entered the burning sands in the Land of Wind. Here they set out an investigation in hopes of discovering a potential lost civilization, one much older than the era of the Sage of Six Paths. After rumors among rumors and evidence jumbled within lies from the truth. Understanding the risk, both physically and financially, the archaeologists had hired a group of Konoha Nin as protection as Suna had forbid these travelers from seeking out anything among their land. Konoha knew the risks as well, but in a unanimous vote among the council, elders and Hokage himself, an elite team was organized and sent to protect them, in hopes that they can benefit from this research as well. Ever since Kumo had gotten their hands on most of the items belonging to the Sage of Six Paths, they felt the need to grow stronger as well. Seeing as the civilization that was being researched was older than the Sage, Konoha could only drool at the idea of something stronger or equivalent to chakra. One can only hope. After days of searching, the team found their way to a tomb. Sadly, nothing great comes without sacrifice. As time progressed, several Konoha Nin along with a few of the helpers that arrived with the researchers were killed by many traps. Some rather quick and disturbing, such as swinging pendulums, pits-filled spikes, and several poisonous Saban traps. Then there were the few slower and much more painful traps, which included rooms where rooms would close in each other and floors that would break and lead to seemingly endless pits. As difficult as the journey was, it was also very long, as it had taken the team nearly 2 weeks to search tomb. When they had arrived near the end, that's when they ran into strange hieroglyphics that were practically impossible to decipher, as the symbols were strange and the images they made out didn't make sense. Then there was this strange mural of 2 people commanding a strangely dressed man with a staff and some sort of lizard with wings. Continuing their way down the path, they arrived at the site of a strange-looking stone in the shape of a sarcophagus. Upon closer inspection, the archaeologists could see strange tools or items synced into stone. One of the Konoha ninja decided to get curious and reached for an item. "Get back, you fool! You might damage them or worse, trigger a life-threatening trap," yelled one of the archaeologists. "It is Konoha's benefit to take whatever you find," said the shinobi, lacking any real emotion in their voice. "You idiot, would you really put aside your own well-being for the sake of your village?" he asked. "To Danzo-sama, if we all die and the result ends with Konoha becoming victorious, then yes, my life matters very little," the Nin said. The archaeologist was unable to reach out and pull them out as the rogue shinobi grabbed an item, trying to pull it out only to trigger an earthquake. "You shouldn't touch things that don't belong to you. Nor should you trespass in other lands. Turn back and perhaps what is left of you will survive the trip back," said a threatening voice. "I do not fear your threats," yelled the same Nin. "Very well, you said your life matters very little. Let us put that to the test," yelled the voice as the whole tomb began to shake. "You fool! Your egotism and pride has endangered us all," yelled the man. The rogue Nin was about to retort when suddenly they heard a loud screech. He turned to see a blue dragon grab him by the shoulders and toss him into the wall. The other Konoha ninja prepared themselves as the dragon swept back down. "Fire style, Phoenix Flower Jutsu," yelled another one of the Nin at the dragon. The blue dragon dodged it, and suddenly a bone-like creature made its appearance. Screeching, it began to breathe fire on some of the Nins, leaving only 3 to dodge out of the way. Taking their chances in leaving, the archaeologists made a run for it, only to run into another skeleton-like creature. It made a loud screech as well and started pouring energy into its palms. The researchers attempted to make a run for it, only for the skeleton to fire a ball of lightning at them, killing them in the process. Seeing this, the remaining shinobi knew the mission was a failure with the client dead. As 2 of them ran with their tails between their legs, one stayed behind and ran towards the stone sarcophagus. Being desperate, he attempted to remove the artifacts. He jammed his kunai to force one to come out. That's when suddenly, they were pushed by a mysterious force. Looking back, a man in a purple outfit holding a green scepter appeared. It was likely this man was some sort of guardian. "Earth style, Mud Dragon Jutsu," he yelled, only for the guardian to raise his palm, making the dragon fall apart before reaching him. "Earth style, Golem, Suddenly a large brute-like creature appeared and charged the Guardian, only to be destroyed by dark energy released by the scepter. The man was getting desperate and ran straight at him, tossing several kunai and shuriken. The Guardian stood still as another man riding a horse carrying a red javelin appeared, skewering the man with his lance. Not taking his chances, the Guardian used his scepter and destroyed the body, giving the shinobi an agonizing death. The Guardian looked at the horse rider and nodded as they both left the room filled with artifacts. Outside, the remaining shinobi narrowly escaped with their lives. Turning back, they could see the entire tomb crumbling right behind them. One of them groaned in annoyance that the mission was both a failure and now they couldn't get their hands on any of those artifacts. However, their complaining had to be put on hold as they could hear screaming in the distance. "We have to escape. We need to tell Hokage-sama what happened here today. There's no way these things should be allowed to exist," said one of them. "Hell, how did I get wrapped in this?" asked the other one. Then suddenly, their heart stopped as they saw a large shadow on the ground. Looking up, they could see a winged creature. However, it was gigantic and had an odd color. It wasn't some bird like a crow, pigeon, or your typical vulture. No, this thing was horrifying. It was white, and if you had amazing eyesight, you could see its beady blue eyes. After that, you'd be dead because you wouldn't be able to escape the giant blue ball of lightning it fired from its mouth. The remaining 2 Konoha shinobi learned that the hard way. Sometime later, when the chaos had ended, there was no sign of what caused the destruction or where the inhabitants went, as almost no bodies were found. The ones that were found were considered to have been killed by natural causes by the desert. The tomb was left buried along with all of its secrets, never to meet the gaze of man ever again. However, that didn't mean its secrets would be forgotten or never seen again. The treasures that were left inside were scattered to the edges of the nations, leaving only one behind. "What is this? Some kind of toy?" asked a looter. As his group looted what was left of the archaeologist's camp, he picked up what appeared to be pieces of a broken object. Whatever it was, it's either broken or meant to be put back together. "I don't have time to figure this out. Maybe I can pawn it off," said the man to himself, picking up the broken remains of a pyramid-shaped object with an eye on the center. Thus the journey for the puzzle's new master began. Years later, among the streets of Konoha came a cloaked man with whose face and mouth remained covered. He arrived at the village of Konoha to sell his wares with his small caravan. From the looks of it, he saw there was a festival going on, making it a perfect time to sell. Rubbing his hands together, he quickly went through the gate inspection and led his wares inside and placed them in an open spot just outside where people were celebrating. As he prepared, he could see the people enjoying themselves and looking around, staring at all the other vendors. This stranger had to work quickly if he wanted to make a profit. Setting up his stall quickly, he saw a young boy looking down with his hands in his pockets. This child could be no older than 6 or maybe 7. A perfect sucker to sell to. "Young child, what makes is the reason for you looking down and not up?" he asked, sounding like a sage to catch interest. After all, it is suckers like children who get fooled by those who sound like wise men. "No reason, I'm just alone," the boy said, revealing his blue eyes. "There is a festival going on, should you not be celebrating with your friends?" he asked. "I don't have friends. All the adults tell their kids to stay away from, and they encourage them bully me," he said sadly. "Okay, maybe this village is a lot more hostile than it looks. Forget it, I might be able to scam this brat," the man thought evilly. "Young child, what would you say if I had the tool to help you earn friends? That it would make you so popular, parents would demand you to bully their children," he asked, holding in his laugh. "Really? You have something to make all the glares go away?" The man nodded. "Something for me to help get friends?" The man nodded again. "To make the people stop beating me?" The man froze for a moment. "Who exactly beats you?" the man asked, feeling some concern. "Everyone except a few people like the ramen chef, my Dr. Fonda-chan, and the nice police officer Trudge-san," the boy said. "Oh, okay. Would you like this tool or not?" the man asked, hoping he doesn't get mixed up into some shady business. "Yeah, I'll take it." "How much?" he asked eagerly. "How much are you offering?" The man asked, seeing how much he can extort from the child. The child dug into his pocket, pulling out a few hundred ryu. I can give you this much. I have to sacrifice my ramen for tonight, but it won't matter if I have lots of friends, he said optimistically. The man nodded. Yes, this will do, he said. Okay, this is enough to pay for a meal and maybe a night in the hotel. Now what do I give to this brat? The man wondered. After a few minutes of searching, he dug through all his junk in hopes of finding something useless worth little value. However, looking back, he saw the boy waiting patiently with a smile. Giving the boy a nice smile, the man rapidly dug through everything until he heard something break. Picking up a bag, he thought he broke something valuable until he found that toy puzzle some man pawned off to him. Looking over it again, it looked nice, but it was old and a man like him had no need for it. Besides, he hasn't been able to sell it back after realizing it wasn't real gold. Maybe this could be the tool the child could forge friendships with. Here, my boy, after a long search I have found the tool you need to charm others. The man lied, not that the boy would notice. The boy had hope in his eyes and quickly handed the man his money. The man chuckled to himself and handed him the bag. Naruto opened the bag, revealing several broken fragments. What is it? Naruto asked curiously. It's a puzzle. It will grant you guidance and knowledge along with courage and the skills needed to forge bonds, the man said, trying to come up with something. Okay, so if I solve this puzzle I will have a lot of friends? The man nodded. Thank you, mister. The boy cheered. The man waved him off. What a loon. I wonder what motivates others to beat him up. Whatever it is, he probably did something to deserve it, the man thought. With the boy ran to a secluded spot in the park and sat by a tree, dropping all of his pieces. Feeling anxious, he quickly looked over what was partially built. Seeing it made some kind of triangular shape, the boy took it apart, completely hoping the magic works if he does it by himself. Much time passed, and the boy had solved most of the puzzle, making it turn into an inverted pyramid. Having almost finished, he noticed one part was missing and dug through the bag. After searching for what felt like an hour, the final piece fell out. Smiling happily, the child took the piece with an accessory in the shape of an eye and placed it on. That's when suddenly the puzzle began to glow. It started to shake and enveloped the boy in a cloud of darkness. The puzzle. Open your eyes, child. The boy did as he was told and found himself in a strange room similar to one found inside a real Egyptian pyramid. Who's there? The boy asked. Behind you. The boy turned around and was greeted with the sight of a tan-skinned man with purple eyes, long spiked blonde hair with a purple outline. Who are you? Asked the boy nervously. The man smiled. It is customary for one to introduce themselves before asking for another's name, he said. My name is Naruto, the boy replied. I am the pharaoh, the spirit inside of the Millennium Puzzle, said the pharaoh. The Millennium what? Naruto asked. The Millennium Puzzle, a sacred artifact created during my father's era when he ruled the kingdom of Egypt. It is one of 7 and they all have great power, the pharaoh explained. Does it have the power to help me make friends? This caught the pharaoh off guard. What do you mean by that? Asked the pharaoh. The masked man who sold me the puzzle said it was a tool that will help me make friends. Nobody likes me, so I thought it was magical and it could help me be accepted, explained Naruto. The man took the time to register the boy's words. Naruto, that man scammed you. What? He was clearly a con artist that did his work by stealing your money and trading it for something of no value to you, answered the pharaoh. But, Naruto started to tear up. He looked up to see the pharaoh place a hand on his shoulder. Do not weep, Naruto, for you should rejoice that someone as kind-hearted and honest as yourself had taken the possession of the Millennium Puzzle. Who knows what deranged villain could have gotten their hands on it, said the pharaoh. What's so important about the puzzle that I have it? Naruto asked. Why tell you when I can show you? He asked with a smile. Then suddenly both were engulfed by a bright light. Naruto found himself in the kingdom of Egypt, watching as history went on. From the days of the former pharaoh Akhenaten, seeing the creation of the Millennium items, to the final battle between Zork and the Egyptian gods. He could see everything that the pharaoh had lived through, including his experiences and rise to strength. The power of friendship and the bonds between himself and the monsters he summoned. A strange concept the pharaoh called the heart of the cards. These bonds are what made him strong. It wasn't about his title, his privilege, or lineage. It was about the bonds he forged himself and the courage to become a leader. However, with the good there come evil. That's when a thief known as Bakura attempted to steal the Millennium items and plunge the world into darkness. The thief became a demonic creature known as Zork and was so powerful that it was immune to the defenses not only comprised of basic weapons such as spears, arrows, and catapults, but the ability to summon creatures as well using a strange device known as Diadanks. A strange sealing technique where the user gives up part of their life force to summon their assigned creatures. The main defense force composed by the pharaoh himself, the sacred guardians, who all wore the Millennium items, were unable to defeat the invulnerable Goliath. So in turn they called upon a forbidden powerful monster they split into 5 tablets in hopes of defeating Zork, Exodia. Sadly, Zork was able to defeat the unstable guardian, sending it back to where it was once sealed away. That's when the pharaoh was forced to call on something even more powerful than Exodia itself, the 3 Egyptian gods. Slifer the Sky Dragon, the Winged Dragon of Ra, and Obelisk the Tormentor. The 3 united and became the creator of light, defeating Zork and saving Egypt. Thus time passed and peace was restored. However, there would be a prophecy that one day the pharaoh would return to stop the forces of the Shadow Realm from devouring the world. Until then, the sacred items would be locked away until the time comes for the pharaoh to come for them. Returning back, Naruto found himself standing in front of the pharaoh again. Now that you understand the importance of the puzzle, do you understand why it had chosen you? The pharaoh asked. No, I get I'm not like the bad guys, but why me? I'm just a kid nobody likes. I'm not strong, I can't fight, and not even my own parents acknowledge me. Naruto answered sadly. Naruto, you may not have been born a king, raised with the same privilege as others, or be able to make the mountains move to your every whim, but that does not mean you can't reach greatness, said the pharaoh. How can someone of your stature believe in me? Naruto asked in denial. Heroes aren't always born. With the proper encouragement, you may one day surpass someone such as the likes of me, the pharaoh said with a smile. How do I do that? Naruto asked, feeling some interest. Allow me to help with that, the pharaoh answered. Outside. Several drunken shinobi can be seen stumbling around until they see Naruto passed out with the puzzle in hand. Hey, looky here, it's the demon. Looks like he got himself a toy. Probably stole it. Doesn't matter, let's put him in his place. The group agreed and walked up to the boy and tried to rip away the puzzle only to feel his hands glued to it. Hey, the dumb brat won't let go of it. Forget it, let's kick his ass, another said. Don't bother, let's finish him, said one of them, forming hand seals. Just before their fun could start, Naruto's eyes opened wide as a yellow glowing eye appeared on his forehead. Yu-Gi-Oh! He yelled, and suddenly there was surrounded by a whirlwind. The shinobi thought it was the work of the demon and prompted to take out their kunai. Naruto, however, stood taller by about a half a foot with his hair slightly longer, revealing a purple outline, eyes slowly turning from blue to purple. Kill him before he finishes transforming, one of them yelled, dashing at him with a kunai. Naruto kept his hands on the puzzle and closed his eyes before reopening them, causing a gust of wind to push them all away. The group quickly recovered, only to see a floating man wearing a purple outfit with a green scepter. Dark Magician, use dark magic attack. Naruto commanded with a now deeper voice. The figure known as the Dark Magician fired a dark beam from his scepter, knocking most of them out. A couple survived and began to open fire with fireball jutsus, only for the magician to jump in the way and push them back with a gust of wind by sticking out his palm. Suddenly, Naruto felt paralyzed as he looked to see an older man with a pineapple-shaped haircut. Shadow possession success, he said, smirking. Then suddenly a blonde girl in a blue and pink outfit similar to the Dark Magician appeared. She looked at him in curiosity. Can I help you? The man asked. The girl did a closed-eye smile and nodded. The man raised an eyebrow until making an expression of sheer terror as the girl lifted her own scepter up and started to beat him half to death with it, to the point where he was curled up trying to block the scepter. This was rather hilarious to watch until it got boring. Having enough, Naruto gestured for his magician to stop her. The dark magician slowly walked up to her and grabbed her scepter before shaking his finger, making her pout. The girl gently put her scepter down, but not before quickly kicking the man while he was down, making Dark Magician frown. Good work, the both of you. However, Dark Magician girl, you were a bit overkill at the end there, Naruto said, making her pout. Suddenly, he felt nauseous and almost collapsed had the two not caught him in time. Gently placing him down, the pair looked at their hands to see that they were slowly fading away. Smiling, the Dark Magician ruffled the boy's hair as his female counterpart kissed the top of his head. Just after they disappeared, a man in a ninja police uniform arrived. Looking around, he saw the shinobi knocked out along with Naruto. He sighed at the abuse and, not even giving time to think about how the boy defended himself, he took the boy to safety before anyone could blame him. Elsewhere, a child at around 10 or 11 years was leading a group of kids back to the orphanage when they ran into the same police officer. "Crow, what are you doing out here at this hour?" asked the officer. "Heading back to the orphanage. Some of the kids got lost, and it's my job as the big brother to help them," Crow answered as the man saw most of the kids couldn't be more than half of Crow's age. "Very well. Come when I think I found a new tenant to join you all," he said. "Officer Trudge found us a new brother or sister?" asked one of the kids. "Looks like it. Stay close. Martha is probably worried as it is," Crow said as they all held hands, connecting back to Crow. Arriving at the orphanage, Officer Trudge knocked on the door to find a middle-aged woman open it. "Tetsu, what brings you at this hour?" she asked. "I found Naruto knocked out again near some drunken shinobi. There's a chance someone stood up for him and ran, but I can't be sure. So I have to rule it as an early hangover," Trudge explained. Martha nodded, looking sad. "I see. Naruto is always welcome here," she said, taking him from Trudge's arms. "Good, and by the way, I found Crow here leading the kids back," he said, revealing the orange-haired boy holding onto the hands of the children. "Good, you had me worried, sick young man," Martha said in a stern voice. The boy scratched his head sheepishly. "Sorry, Martha, but I needed to make sure everybody was all right since there's all sorts of strange people in the festival," he said. "Very well, just take them to bed. It's late," the boy nodded as he led the orphans to their rooms. As they left, Martha looked at Naruto's form. "What am I going to do with you, Naruto? Won't they see you for what you really are?" "Damn the yondaime," she said bitterly as she took him to a spare bed. Meanwhile, with the traveling salesman, another cloaked man arrived with a strange golden necklace hanged around his neck. He saw the salesman and approaching him in hope of finding what he was looking for after years of searching. "You there, salesman," the cloaked man called out. "Good evening, potential customer. I see you've called my attention to see my wares correct." The cloaked man nodded. "Very well. Anything worth catching your eye?" he asked. "Yes. There is a rumor you've collected something of high value. I am willing to pay as much as you're willing to bargain with no argument," the cloaked man said, trying to be generous for once. The salesman's eyes would have turned into dollar signs if he had the ability to do so. "Very well. What is it you are seeking, my friend?" he asked. "I am seeking a puzzle. To be specific, it looks like it's made of gold, but appears fake during some instances. If that doesn't ring any bells, it also appears to be in the shape of a pyramid with an eye in the center," the cloaked man explained. The man felt his heart shatter. "I apologize, but I do not have it," the salesman said, trying to hide his sadness. "What?" he asked in a low voice. "As I said, I do not have it anymore," the salesman admitted. "Then who does?" the cloaked man asked. "A child. I gave it to him thinking it was nothing but a mere toy," he answered, and could see his customer was not happy despite being unable to see his face. "What is the matter?" "It's just a toy. I can get you something better. Like this, for instance, eh?" The man was picked up by his robes and lifted into the air. "Listen here, you bumbling buffoon. You just gave away a rare artifact worth more than your own petty existence," the man yelled in hatred. "Please, sir, put me down. I swear I can give you something just as good. Or if you want, I can seek out the child and make him give it back, the salesman pleaded. Not on your life. If I find out this child is unable to return it to me, then I will be forced to deal with even more pests, all because of your greed and stupidity, the man yelled. Please, I swear I can make it up to you, the salesman continued to plead. I will not waste more time hearing your begging. To the shadow realm for you. Then suddenly the salesman found himself being enveloped by darkness. Someone. Anyone. Please help me. I don't want to die. I have so much to live for, the man yelled, seeing people pass by only to act as if nothing wrong was occurring. They cannot hear you. Nobody will ever hear from you again. Begone from my sight, the cloaked man demanded as the ring-like object around his neck began to glow. Ignoring the man's pleading and screaming, the cloaked man saw his accessory move on its own, pointing at a certain direction. There? Very well, hopefully this child isn't too much of a pest. The last thing I need is for him to wake up Adam of all people, the cloaked man said to himself before following his ring to the puzzle. For years later, Naruto stood tall over the show dame's head, looking over the village. It wasn't his favorite place, nor did he wish to stay here, but he had his own obligations to stay. At about 4 feet 7 inches, he was tall for 10 nearing 11, an early age to mature rapidly. Since the day the strange man swindled him into buying the Millennium Puzzle, life has become rather interesting. First, he discovers his great potential and has studied under the pharaoh, becoming both book smart and street smart. Then there was training. For many long hours every day, the pharaoh would have him work on speed, strength, stamina, and a little bit of swordsmanship. Of course, putting aside bitterness, Naruto grew strong and felt more confident. One could not tell, but under his blue jacket and pants were the muscles of an athlete, and in few years' time he would have the appearance of an Olympian. However, it wasn't the fact he exercised or worked out. It was the bonds he forged. Starting with Crow and Martha. He was happy that the older woman allowed him to stay amongst the children. Like them, he looked up to Crow as an older brother who was always there to guide him, especially when they both helped his newest friends, Joey and Serenity. A few months earlier, a lone walk in the red light district, Naruto was minding his own business, staring at the ceiling cards he had made. When the pharaoh introduced him to the concept of the shadow games and dual monsters, he learned about the spirits he carried with him. Then Naruto felt sympathy for those like Dark Magician who didn't like being stuck inside the puzzle all day every day. So that's when he started learning sealing and worked on creating some form of cards to replace the stone tablets. For now he could only summon one at a time using the Diadank the pharaoh gave him. The only modification is the Diadank didn't already have the seal for the monsters. That's where his cards came in and let him choose whoever he wanted to fight by his side. Now if only he could amplify the strength for it to handle more than one card. However, that wasn't his own worry. Now he had to deal with the stranger who's been stalking him since he made it to the neighborhood. He could see some of the patrons and beggars looking at him with worry. Even a couple of the locals with their gelled back hair and fancy suits saw the stranger tailing him. Naruto raised his hand, giving the stranger the idea he was waving to everyone else, when in actuality it was a signal for them to stay back. He saw the people look less tense and they all went back to their day. That's when Naruto started walking faster and led his stalker through some very narrow alleyways. When he found a good spot, he turned to his stalker. This was just some kid no older than he was. Dirty blonde hair, green jacket with stains, and some bruises around his hands and face. This kid has either been abused or picked a few fights in his life. Let's keep it simple. Seeing from your fancy clothes, you've clearly never been mugged before, said the older boy. I have, and this isn't the last time either. So if you think you got the balls, come at me, Naruto challenged. Wise guy, huh? The boy asked, pulling out a rusty wrench from his back pocket. Being rushed, Naruto kept a calm demeanor and avoided his swings, all while keeping his hands in his pockets. The older boy wasn't giving up and swung harder one more time, only to lose his balance and get kicked into the cans of trash. Losing his temper, he threw his wrench, which got caught in one hand, and tossed aside. Naruto gave him the come at me taunt and started blocking his strong punches before tripping him. The older boy rolled away and got up to rip a pipe off of the wall. Naruto saw this coming and ripped off one as well, engaging his attacker in a pseudo-sword fight. Little did they know a younger brown-haired girl saw this fight and ran in. Naruto knocked the pipe out of his attacker's hands and when it hit him in the back of the leg, making him kneel. Then dropped his own weapon and grabbed the older boy by the hair, raising him up. "Don't hurt him." Naruto turned to see a crying little girl. The older boy tried to punch Naruto only to be lifted over the younger boy's shoulder and dropped. Naruto kept a good painful grip on his attacker's hand as the little girl rushed to his side. "Please stop. Joey didn't mean to do it," she pleaded with tears in her eyes. "Serenity, what are you doing following me? You're going to get hurt," Joey berated her. Serenity grabbed onto the Naruto's shirt, getting his attention. "Please, mister, my big brother didn't mean to do it. He was just looking after me. He's really sorry," she cried. Joey got up and grabbed his sister. "Serenity, let's go. I'm already in enough trouble as it is," he said. "Joey, you wouldn't be in trouble if you didn't steal from others," Serenity said. "Well, how else am I going to get the money for your surgery? You don't want to go blind, do you?" Serenity shook her head. "Good, now let's go before the police force shows up." "He's really sorry, mister," Serenity yelled as she followed her brother. Naruto stared at the two retreating siblings. He could tell a sob story from the truth, and that little girl was too innocent to scam him. In truth, he's dealt with this issue before and got swindled a couple times by little kids playing the starving or sick child act. However, he could tell Joey and Serenity were different. 3 weeks later. It was raining. Naruto decided to take shelter with Martha again and was making his way down there now. Despite the sounds of a potential thunderstorm, he could hear the sounds of yelling and fighting. "That will teach you to fight your betters. You think scum like you deserves equal treatment. It's time to take out the trash." Naruto saw several Chunin kicking and punching someone while they were down. Narrowing his eye, he tapped one on the shoulder, gaining his attention. "What the hell you want, kid? Can't you see I'm delivering sweet Jew, ah?" The Chunin was interrupted as he took several swings to the head with an umbrella before taking a giant swing to the head. "Hey, he's got Yamagishi," yelled one of the Chunin. "You're dead, brat," yelled his assailant. Naruto merely moved to the side, kneeing another one in the gut before smashing his head against the Chunin's, breaking his nose. The turning his to the final one, shooting fire from his mouth. Spinning away on his foot like an experienced ballet dancer, Naruto brought down his food, cracking the final Chunin's head, knocking him out. Looking around, he saw the one called Yamagishi trying to crawl away only to be dragged back. Naruto saw his nervous look. "Answer me this. Why did you join the Shinobi Corp?" Naruto asked. "Duh, to get respect, get strong, and earn glory like the Yondaime," Yamagishi said as if it were the most obvious answer. Naruto's response, a good beating with his umbrella. For 5 minutes, this went on as onlookers moved quickly, seeing as the Chunin deserved this. They didn't dare bothering someone from the red light district. The place was lawless and was too much of a war zone. Hell, there's a rumor some boss nobody knows has been cracking down on corrupt shinobi inside the village. Not even the Yakuza know this person's name, or if they're a man or a woman. "Please stop," Yamagishi begged. "I bet that person you attacked didn't deserve it. If they did, you would have arrested them like you're told to. I bet you got bribed to attack some defenseless bigar." Naruto turned to see it was that Joey kid again, covered in injuries. Whatever he did, it caught the attention of the shinobi. "Out of my sight," he said to Yamagishi without turning to him. The Chunin nodded rapidly and picked up one of his friends before running. Naruto kneeled beside Joey to check his pulse. He was fine and breathing, but clearly took too many hits. Listening in, he could hear that someone else was nearby. "Serenity, that was your name, wasn't it?" he asked as the same little girl appeared again. "I was worried about Big Brother and saw the ninja beating him up. I got scared and wanted to get help, but Joey told me to hide," she said with hints of fear in her voice. Naruto looked at the unconscious boy and lifted him over his shoulder. "What are you doing?" Serenity panicked. "Taking him somewhere safe. You should come, it's still raining," he said as he opened his umbrella. "Take this, you'll catch a cold." Serenity hesitated for a moment before taking it and following him. "Where are we going?" she asked. Somewhere much more safe. Naruto answered before hearing her stomach growl. He looked at her, noticing her blush, and hopefully dinner is ready when we get there. A while later, Joey opened his eyes to find Serenity sleeping on a bed across from him. Trying to regain his strength, he sat up and saw Naruto speaking with Martha and red auburn-haired woman with one piece sticking out. The woman took notice first and approached him. "How are you feeling, little one?" she asked. "Where am I? Who are you people?" Joey asked before clutching his wounds in pain, noticing his shirt was off and he was covered in bandages. "This is my orphanage. I am Martha, and it was Naruto here who brought you," Martha explained. "You? But I tried to mug you? What's with the generosity?" Joey asked. "You did the wrong things for the right reason. You have a sister to protect, but why do you keep getting in trouble? Those Chunin could have killed you," Naruto said. "None of your business, creep," Joey said, feeling his wounds again. He needed to pay for the doctor. Everyone turned to see Serenity waking up. "What was that, dear?" asked Martha. "Joey's been robbing people because he's too little to work and he needs it to pay for my operation," Serenity explained. "Serenity, don't tell them everything." Joey was stopped when Naruto raised his hand. "What kind of operation?" Naruto asked. "An eye one. The doctors say if I don't get my surgery, I'm going to go blind," she said sadly. "Let me see, dear. I can give you a second opinion," said the red-haired woman. "Okay, Ms. Fonda Fontaine, I'm a doctor," she said, pulling out a small flashlight. "So what gives? You going to turn me in and keep Serenity here in the orphanage by herself?" Joey asked. "Two siblings should not be separated. You two should stay here. There's plenty of room and food here. So long as you don't go robbing people anymore," Martha said. "Thanks for the offer, but how am I going to pay for Serenity's operation? She's gonna go blind," Joey said. "He's right, her eyesight is failing. Must be an extreme case of macular degeneration at such a young age," Fonda said, finishing her exam. "Yeah, it's whatever that was. I have to get 150,000 Rio by the end of the next month or else Serenity will lose her eyesight for good," Joey said, trying to hide his tears. "Fonda, is that an accurate price?" Naruto asked. "For brain surgery, but knowing who's working there whenever Tsunade isn't around. Must be for self-gain," Fonda answered. "What do you mean?" Joey asked. "I'm saying you got swindled. Eye surgeries cost 28,000 Rio at most, and that's if your eyes have to be removed completely," Fonda answered. Joey looked down, realizing his mistake. Now there was no hope of saving his sister's eyesight. At least not without being ripped off or robbing a bank. "Can't you do anything, Dr. Fontaine?" Joey asked. "Surgery isn't my forte, but I bet a certain blonde knows," Fonda says, looking at Naruto. "You're a doctor?" Joey asked with wide eyes. "No, but I have an idea who can do it for a normal price," Naruto said, reassuring him. "Even if you can, the most I got is 2,000 Rio," Joey replied. Naruto sighed and pulled out a stack of money, counting it before leaving it on the bedside table next to Joey. "Take it," Naruto said. "Thanks, pal, but I'm not the guy who accepts loans," Joey said, trying to give the money back. "It's not a loan, it's a promise that you don't go mugging other people and put yourself at risk. Serenity needs her older brother more than her eyesight. Her following you around is a sign about how much she cares about you," Naruto explained. "Do you really mean it?" Joey asked, feeling shocked. "It is. Now take care of yourself," Naruto said, leaving the room. "If you'd like, you and your sister can stay here as long as you like," Martha offered. Joey looked to his sister, who nodded in approval. "Thanks, miss. I'll never forget this kindness," Joey said with much gratitude in his voice. End of flashback. From that day, Joey stopped his attempts at robbing people and lived an honest life, helping Crow at Martha's orphanage. Serenity also got her surgery, fixing her eyesight from the hands of a capable and more honest doctor. He became friends with the brother and sister and smiled at the thought of building friends. His one true wish when he received this puzzle. Now it was time to meet his destiny. Taking a look at the village over him, he quickly pulled out a card and placed it over the Diadank. "Curse of Dragon. Naruto yelled as he jumped off the head and landing on the back of a flying skeleton. Looking over the ground again, he pointed to a direction, making the dragon-like creature fly. In the distance, an older man with a strange prosthetic eye made of gold. The old man stroked his beard as he could see Naruto flying high up in the air. So the pharaoh has finally chosen his heir. No doubt his real relative. Perhaps I can make up for my sins by helping the lad on his journey, said the man to himself before disappearing into the shadows. Hokage Tower. In his office, Minato Namikaze worked on his endless pile of documents. Sighing, he wished it was Orochimaru who had taken his place instead. Putting that aside, he pinched the bridge of his nose as he could feel a presence watching over him. "You can come out now, sensei," he said. I can't pull one over you or sensei can I," said a voice belonging to Jiraiya, one of the 3 legendary Sannin. "Is something the matter? You're here earlier than usual," Minato pointed out. Well, besides the hot springs being closed for the day, the prophecy has changed again. Jiraiya said the last part with seriousness in his voice. "What does it say now?" Minato asked, listening in. "It's pretty bad. The prophecy changed from being something simple to something more disastrous." "Do you remember the original prophecy?" Minato nodded and remembered it well. "One sapling born from 2 great leaves will rise and carry a large burden, trained alongside those who command the toads and slugs. Not even at the age of an adult they will see the world for what is and attempt to bring greatness to their home. However, when the tantalizing offer for power comes, the one who rides the beast of hatred will either save or end the shinobi world." "So what's changed?" Minato asked. "One grain of sand descending from royalty that watched over the dunes of an ancient kingdom will awaken. As a child, the savior will take on their ancestors' role and save those who cannot defend themselves. Although not caring for what is considered good or evil, the child will discover the power of forging bonds and be able to summon beasts from a time long forgotten, including 3 deities lost from this world. Wielding all 7 ancient treasures, the child of prophecy will fight to stop the Dark One from plunging the world into darkness." "Sensei, this is bad. That has nothing to do with Erasure. He's supposed to be the child of prophecy, and now some kid likely in Wind Country has to save us all," Minato said, holding his head. "I know, but that doesn't mean you should stop training Erasure. For all we know, it could change again. What kind of summoning contract can summon 3 deities anyways?" Jiraiya asked, wondering if some other clan like the Snakes are messing with it. That's when the secretary walked in. "Hokage-sama, you have visitors from Iwagakure and Nadeshiko," she said. Jiraiya paled, remembering Nadeshiko and how almost got killed for trespassing. "Send them in," Minato said. "Minato, don't tell them I'm here," Jiraiya said, hiding outside. Minato sighed at his teacher's childish antics. Putting that aside, he was surprised to see Inoki of all people with his guards and a woman with brown hair and a red outfit. "Inoki and Tokiwa, Hokage-sama," she answered for him. "Yes, what brings you two here?" Minato asked, wondering why the leader of an enemy village and representative of a village Jiraiya isn't allowed and would visit. "Forgive me if this sounds intruding, but I'm here to make sure you don't default on our deal," Inoki said cryptically. "What deal?" "Forgive me, but I often have the memory of a goldfish," Minato said. "Hokage, right before you took Sarutobi's hat, you made a promise for a peace treaty. That you would marry off your firstborn son to my granddaughter," Inoki explained. "Oh. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?" "No." Inoki face-palmed until he took out the signed document. "I have a copy right here," he said, feeling annoyed, wondering why Sarutobi didn't pick a mature, experienced man instead of some kid who recreated the Nidame's jutsu. "Hokage-sama, as you will allow me to speak. You made the same agreement for your son to marry our leader, seeing as Jiraiya-sama could fulfill it himself," Tokiwa spoke up. "Can you reiterate?" Minato asked. Tokiwa rolled her eyes. "Since our former leader passed away, the role falls onto a student. However, you are married, so it lands on your son, seeing as your teacher is training him as well," she explained. "I'm sorry to say this, but Erasure has his own obligations to fulfill," Minato said. Then you can consider our treaty annulled, Anoki said. As well as mine, Tokiwa said. As they left, Minato had a light bulb over his head. Wait, I can't have my younger son married off, but there is still the matter of my older son. Older son, has he been trained as well? Tokiwa asked, and suddenly he looked stunned and couldn't answer. Hokage-sama, the rules of our village state that anyone challenged must defeat one of our own in order to be married. Otherwise they die. Anoki nodded, although not as drastic as Tokiwa-san's village. I expect my granddaughter's betrothed to be strong as well. So believe they must fight as well, he added. He definitely is, I just looked nervous because he's been in isolation. Minato lied and luckily went unnoticed. Why? Anoki asked. Because he's working on an S-rank jutsu. One definitely stronger than my Rasengan, he said, faking his pride. Both nodded, only a decade old and making S-rank ninjutsu. Tokiwa said, impressed. Good, have we come to an agreement? Minato asked. I believe I have agreed, but I cannot speak for Tokiwa-san. Anoki answered. The proposal is acceptable. When would you like your son to be tested? She asked. How about in 4 years when the Chunin exams take place in my village? Minato suggested. Very well, I will see you in 4 years, Hokage. That boy better be strong and not only for your sake. Anoki said, leaving. His life is on the line as well. Goodbye, Hokage-sama. Goodbye, Jiraiya-sama. Tokiwa said as she left as well. Jiraiya popped back in. Well, that was a mess. I forgot you had more than one son, he said. I did too, and we're not going to get those treaties if he's dead, Minato said with a look of horror on his face. It won't be a problem. Erasure is pretty strong for now. So I think I can spare time for the brat. What's his name again? Jiraiya asked. Minato was about to yell at him for his stupidity when he suddenly realized he forgot his name as well. Oh, Kami, he's realized he hasn't seen what's his name either. No need to fear, maybe Kushina knows where he is. Or maybe he's at the academy with his friends. I'll find him myself, sensei. Go do your own thing until then, Minato said optimistically. Good luck, brat, Jiraiya said, jumping out the window. What has he been up to? I bet he and Erasure are fighting off fangirls and working on their jutsus, Minato said happily. At the academy. A kid with brown hair and a kid with blue hair lay their heads sleeping like a certain Nara. Next to them was a girl with a boy-like appearance because of her newsboy cap. Looking outside, she was still thinking about an older boy she and her 2 friends met. About a year ago, she was surrounded by bullies who were using weapons to hurt her. All because she upstaged the Uchiha and was from some poor civilian family. That's when they were all stopped and beat up by some older kid. She never got his name, but remembers him. An older boy in a blue jacket with matching pants, strangely styled spiky blonde hair, and a strange accessory in the shape of an inverted pyramid hanging over his neck. Her friends later claimed they saw the boy themselves after they got into some trouble themselves. That he called upon a strange summon like the toad sage Jiraiya, only it was of a lion with a man's body and a horned animal with wings with a similar body. They couldn't stop talking about how cool he was, and they were determined to find him. Here thoughts broke off as she could see something in the distance. Narrowing her eyes, she could see a large flying object. Having trouble, the girl woke up her brown-haired friend. Hey Jaden, what is that? She asked, shaking him awake. Wha? Huh? Where? He asked, looking at the window, and a few minutes later both could see a strange creature flying near the academy. What is that? The girl asked. Holy crap, Blair, that's the guy, Jaden said with excitement. What guy? The girl identified as Blair asked. The guy. You know, the guy we saw with the awesome summons. Jesse, wake up, it's the summons guy, he said, stirring his blue-haired friend awake. Ah geez, Jaden, what are you waking me up for? I got myself a dream where I had my own summons, Jesse complained in his thick southern accent. Jesse, that dream doesn't matter, the guy's here, Jaden said, grabbing his attention. Wait, what? He asked, looking out. The trio watched as Naruto made his appearance and flew over the academy with his dragon. Jaden and Jesse had stars in their eyes while Blair blushed at his sight. It was just a childhood crush, but she couldn't help herself. The people who didn't notice commotion coming from the trio turned their heads up at the sounds of flapping, as if some giant avian was above the school. The teacher, Irika Yumino, made them settle down as he continued his very uninteresting lecture. However, that only left the trio wondering if they will have time to see that stranger again. So cool. They all thought, wishing they had their own summons. With Naruto landing, he recalled his dragon back to the card and watched over the academy. Something about being a ninja never appealed to him. It was like any other occupation related to being a warrior. They have their honor, code, and ideals, but in the end, anyone can turn traitor or think they're above the law. The concept of being a ninja was ridiculous to him, no matter how you put it. All these kids are here for the glory when they have no idea how dangerous the world really is. In the end, the blind cannot see until they open their eyes, Naruto said to himself. It doesn't take an eye such as mine to see that. Naruto jumped at the sound of the voice and kept his Dank ready for an attack. Watching closely, an elder man with a prosthetic eye came out of the shadows. Fear not, I am not your enemy. I carry the Millennium Eye as you carry the Millennium Puzzle, the man said. How do you know about the Millennium items? Naruto asked, weary of the stranger. I was the one who created them after all. Under my brother's orders, the man said cryptically. No, you can't be. That was many years ago, Naruto said. Nothing is impossible in this world. Allow me to properly introduce myself, he said, taking a knee and bowing his head. I am Akhenaten, father of Priest Sito and uncle of the pharaoh Adam, he said. Adam? Is that his name? Naruto asked. It is, has he not told you? Akhenaten asked. No, I was only able to see him for a few months, then his spirit had moved on, leaving me with the puzzle. He said it was my destiny to take his place, Naruto explained. Akhenaten nodded. It makes sense after all. Who else would the pharaoh leave it with other than his successor? He said. You can't mean. I do, I however am here for another purpose, Akhenaten said. What purpose? I am here to train you to wield all 7 of the Millennium items, including my eye. For you, Naruto, are destined to save the world from the Shadow Realm, Akhenaten said, activating his eye. Impossible, was all Naruto could say as his puzzle also began to glow. That's when Naruto found himself in another flashback. Here he would see Akhenaten having to separate himself from his son and wife to keep them safe. Then there was Zork's influence that caused him to go mad and unleash the beast onto Egypt, all for the sake of taking what he believed was his. His motives were his brother creating all the credit for the Millennium items, for winning wars that could have been avoided and taking the throne when he believed he could have been a better pharaoh. That's when he possessed his own son into forcing a young woman named Kazara to use her power to summon the Blue Eyes White Dragon. However, when it ended, Akhenaten regretted everything and now nothing but a spirit. He awaited for the next pharaoh to take the throne. For when that day comes, darkness will be unleashed. Now Akhenaten seeks out to help the pharaoh and help him grow strong. Do you believe everything you saw? Akhenaten asked. I don't have any way to deny your claim, so I will believe you for now, Naruto said, cautious of Akhenaten. Very well, I will take that much. Seek me out when you want to begin your training, Akhenaten said before disappearing into the shadows. Naruto sighed at what he had experienced, but turned his attention back to the academy. He could see a bunch of kids his age working on spars. His eyes directed to the lazy kid and the big-boned one lying down looking at the clouds. A blonde girl and pink-haired girl throwing sloppy punches and trading insults. Then there was this red-haired kid fighting an Uchiha. It was sad to watch, and it didn't help there was some meek girl with pale skin trying to avoid training by hiding behind a tree. Then some Aburame and Inuzuka working on throwing kunai and shuriken, with poor speed and accuracy from the looks of it. Most of these kids are going to die, but then there was another trio. He could see Blair, Jaden, and Jesse all trying to go through a rather complex obstacle course. Although it looks risky, he could see they were helping each other along the way, making sure no one would be left behind. These 3 could get themselves killed if they don't watch their own backs, but instead of abandoning comrades, they abandon regulation. Seeing that, he could hear a white-haired Chunin barking at them, telling them they failed and they'll amount to nothing this way. Naruto gritted his teeth hearing that arrogant Chunin speak to them like that. However, looking back at them, he could see the trio were pulling together, ignoring his words. Maybe there is some hope for them. Maybe he should come back and see how everyone at the academy grows. With the academy students, Blair took her cap off, letting her long hair fall as she wiped her forehead of sweat. That's when she looked up and blushed again. Jaden and Jessie saw this. "Blair, you coming down with something?" Jessie asked. "Yeah, Jessie's right, you look red," Jaden pointed out. "Eep. It's just that I think someone is watching us," she said, pointing up. Both boys narrowed their eyes and saw Naruto watching over them with his arms crossed. They all felt anxious with that stare of his. The next thing they knew, he made a small smile before giving them a thumbs up. Jaden gave him one back. Seeing that, Naruto nodded and jumped off the side of the building that obscured their view. Did he just?" Blair muttered out. "I think he," Jaden muttered out before hearing a small growl. Not taking their eyes off where Naruto stood, a small blue dragon appeared with him on his back. They could all see him waving at them before leaving. The trio waved back happily. "Do you think we impressed him with our teamwork?" Jessie asked. "Of course he did. He was looking at us, wasn't he?" Jaden asked while Blair felt some resolve. "What are you guys doing standing around?" asked a boy with a black jacket and pale skin. "Oh hey Chaz, we saw the guy," Jaden said. "What guy?" Chaz asked. "The guy we told you about. The one with the awesome summons," Jaden answered. "Are you guys on about that again?" The four turned to a blonde girl in a sleeveless jacket with a boy with slick back hair beside her. "Oh hey Alexis," Chaz greeted, trying to hide his blush at seeing his crush. "Hey Alexis, we saw that summons guy. He was riding on a skeleton creature and just left on a blue dragon," Jaden said, making Chaz, Alexis, and the kid with the slick back hair sweat drop. Jaden, for the last time, he can't exist because there is no record of any summoner that could summon different beasts. "It's rather far-fetched, wouldn't you say?" asked the boy with the slicked back hair. "You're just jealous, Bastian, that we got to meet him. We even earned his respect," Jessie said. Everyone else turned to Blair. He gave us a thumbs up. "Wow, what real motivation," Alexis said sarcastically. "What kind of summoner would he be to summon human-like monsters, skeletons, and dragons? Let's say he does exist. What kind of person are we dealing with?" Bastian asked. "I have no idea, but it doesn't matter. Because there is nothing that could beat that dragon," Jaden said, hoping to see him again. "Except a toad, maybe." Everyone turned to see the red-headed kid. "I bet I could beat this guy in a second. Pervy Sage says I'm going to be the next Toad Sage," he said arrogantly. "In your dreams, Era, sure, you may be the son of a Kage, but being a sage is more than status," Alexis said. "Lexi-chan, why are you so mean to your favorite Namikes?" Erasure said, feigning pain. "Like hell she would like you, tomato head," Chaz said, getting a nod from Alexis. "The hell did you call me?" Erasure yelled. "Tomato head?" Chaz barked back as a streak of lightning appeared between their foreheads. "That's enough, you two. Now knock it off before I have you scrubbing the toilets." Both turned to see a man of tall stature who looked like he's been through a war or two. "All right, I'll back off," Chaz said. Erasure smirked. "Yeah, understand your superiors, Princeton," he said, leaving. "I really hate that guy," Jaden said, siding with Chaz. "Hey, Professor Viper, can't you do anything?" Blair asked. "Trust me, I did. I saved Chaz's career before it started. If I'd let them go at it, Erasure would have cried to his father about being bullied. The last thing I need is the yondaime breathing down my neck," Thelonious Viper explained. "So it's a matter of prestige, is it?" Bastian asked. "Sadly it is. You can say the same about the Uchiha. I can't discipline them like I can everyone else," he said. "So that's why you and Banner get complaints about playing favorites?" Jessie asked. "Sadly it is," Viper said, nodding his head slowly. "You should all get back to it. You only have a half hour before Irika explains the importance behind the importance of understanding the importance of studying chakra control," he said, earning a few snickers. "He's right, you know, Irika-sensei goes into too much detail about chakra theory. Bastian said. Coming from you, there must be something wrong with his teachings. Jaden said before they all went back to training. I wonder what that guy wanted. Blair thought as she put her hat back on. There was something special about that guy and she could only hope to meet him again someday.